Having had God's Word now shared with us as a background and a fortress to ride upon, we now share about some of the ministries that made resurrection important and stand out. It was its lifeblood. And so we ask now, I'm going to ask Kathy and Betsy and Janie to come up. You're going to share the first three ministries. And after we have their sharing, we're going to hear the choir, and we'll reflect on three more ministries. So.
Stephen Ministry began Resurrection in 1993 with vision and good timing. Over the next 17 years, 56 of our members were trained as Stephen ministers, including 8 leaders. These individuals and others acted as good listeners to many who were struggling with one of life's difficult situations.
Like when facing medical issues,
or the loss of a loved one, having a new baby, facing unemployment or retirement,
or facing abuse, depression, or loneliness.
It was a privilege to be in ministry with this group of fabulous people. We hosted workshops to network with other Stephen Ministry programs in our area and in the Senate. And we offered workshops to members of Resurrection in Christian caregiving, assertiveness, grief, and caring for our aging parents. Several ministries grew out of this, including New Baby Ministry, Communion to Shut-ins, new member sponsors, and Bereavement Ministry. Each year, at least 25% of our caregiving went outside of our walls. This ministry changed my life, and I'm not alone. Some comments from Stephen ministers. Stephen ministry training has helped me in all my relationships, but even more significant is the spiritual growth in me during the training process. Stephen ministry to me meant learning to listen without giving advice and to pray out loud with others. Another, I have witnessed God's love and healing through this group. I learned to value myself and my worthiness. I learned to let some of my burdens go and not carry them all alone. And it feels good to be useful to God. One of the blessings of Stephen Ministry is that once you've been trained, you always have those skills for interactions with neighbors, friends, family. Galatians 2 says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way fulfill the law of Christ. If you are a Stephen minister, would you please stand? Thank you.
I've been asked to share a little about Christ Care, our small group ministry program at RLC for a number of years. In 1997, when a group of members began exploring small group programs, Christ Care rose to the top of their list for 2 reasons. It was created by the same organization as Stephen Ministry, which we already had in place, and it encompassed 4 elements in every small group: worship, community building, Bible study, and service. This was especially appealing to us at RLC because we have always been a congregation that cared about each other, but also reached outside our walls in service. I was fortunate to be a member of our initial leadership team called Equippers. Our training in St. Louis was in the format of a Christ Care group, and we learned how quickly people can get to know each other when we take the time to incorporate all 4 elements in our time together as a group. I remember how excited our RLC group became when we realized that these elements would not only benefit new groups formed at RLC, but could also be incorporated into our existing teams. Over the course of 7 years, we kicked off a variety of Christ Care groups. Many were focused on Bible study, such as weekday morning women's group, an evening women's group, and several evening couples groups. Others focused on service. We had a Saturday morning men's group that met early for breakfast and Bible study twice a month, and then worked on in the Habitat for Humanity house the rest of the morning. We also had a group of women who enjoyed crafting, Their group incorporated the other three elements of worship, community building, and Bible study, but always spent part of their time together working on a craft project to meet some need, either at our church or elsewhere in the community. As I mentioned above, we also worked with existing teams to incorporate some of the elements into the beginning of their team meetings. When our youth ministry leaders wanted to incorporate small groups into their programs, we provided a shortened version of the training during a retreat for their leaders. Eventually, the Christ Care program ran its course, but RLC continued to support small group ministry using other formats. Today, as we end our ministry at RLC, I'm aware of several groups that will continue meeting, such as a Friday morning Bible study and a crafting group. I am also aware of lifetime friendships that were started in a Christ Care group and continue today long after the official group ended. I'm thankful for the initial group of members who saw the need for small group ministry program. I'm thankful for those who served with me on the leadership team and all those who participated in the training and led groups. But most of all, I'm thankful for how God worked through these groups to foster spiritual growth, caring relationships, and a desire to serve outside our walls. If those of you that were involved in the Christ Care, either as a leader or a member of a group, if you would please stand now.
The RLC High School Youth Ministry began in the early 1980s. Approximately 260 students participated in the ministry over the years. This picture is one of the first youth worship services in the late 1980s. Students continued to provide a weekend of RLC worship for over 20 years. In 1994, when the LYO applied for but didn't get into the ELCA National Youth Gathering, Pastor Joel suggested we try a servant work trip. He had a contact in Virginia, and the planning began. This is the first work trip. To me, this was a turning point for LYO. The yearly trips brought awareness of the joy of service, feeling God's presence and love through one another, and those we served was eye-opening and faith-growing as well, and provided the desire to serve at home. LYO members painted the Royal Point building, served the RLC Easter breakfast, participated in other church projects and people power roles, served at the Boys and Girls Club, Home Sweet Home Mission, Safe Harbor, Bickford House, Midwest Food Bank, Feed My Starving Children, Clare House, provided babysitting for special needs children, and led crafts for the nursing home residents. They also rang bells for the Salvation Army. Youth ministry was a congregational ministry as well. Students and adult leaders felt led of God through the support and encouragement they received from the congregation. Adults and college students accompanied the youth on work trips and led small groups. Adults chaperoned for youth congresses, ski trips, retreats, at Cornerstone and other concerts. They provided snacks and meals for LYO and babysat for LYO leaders. The congregation supported service projects like Super Bowl of Caring and the Invisible Children. The RLC community also faithfully came together for garage sales for 21 years to raise funds for building materials for the servant work trips. And most importantly, you prayed for the students and the adult leaders through these years. This picture is of the youth ministry summer trip in 2015. RLC youth finally made it to the ELCA. While many of the students were concerned the event might not be as impactful as work trips to Sunset Gap, they found it was a different type of inspiration and way to see God at work in the world. The ELCA event clarified once again the importance of worshiping together and tackling social justice issues. The whole week's activities encouraged the sharing of God's love with others. These final pictures are representative of some of the lifelong friendships the students in LYO developed. These are just a few, couldn't include them all. The LYO students shared God's love with each other, the people of RLC, and beyond. It gives me great hope to see the ways they continue to care for others in this world. And now I'd like to recognize the other LYO leaders, Terry, Chris and Kristen, and Chad. Would you please stand?